Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you Game 2 in a series between Happy and AAA's Nerchio here on Tal'Darim Altar. We have the yellow Happy Terran who unfortunately took a hard loss on Metalopolis in Game 1 of the series. So Nerchio will be entering this series with a 1-0 lead. Meanwhile, Nerchio played a very strong game, somehow using Zerglings, Roaches, and only Queens to fend off Banshee harassment. Nicely done, as Nerchio spawns at the 5 o'clock location, Happy spawning as the Yellow Terran at the 2 o'clock location. And we'll see what goes down here. Now, Tal'Darim Altar, one of those maps where I feel Terran players are really pigeonholed into how they play. They really have to go for siege tanks and marines against a Zerg player to try to deny this expansion here. Unfortunately for Happy, he has spawned counterclockwise to his opponent. His opponent is clockwise from him, so it will be a little bit more difficult to try to siege up here in order to get any damage in, as the Zerglings will be able to run in and intercept and try to hold off any of those reinforcements. Nerchio, we'll see if he tries to go for an early hatchery like he did in the last game, or if he goes for a spawning pool. It looks like it will be an early hatchery, as the one drone moving out in order to do scouting, and then the second drone there to grow up and be a hatchery, and then have a queen take care of it. So a drone now moving out into this direction over here. Yeah, just wanted to know if I say a drone grows up and takes care of it, does that mean that the drone has a sex before, or no, they're asexual? Anyways, back. Yeah, getting into too much StarCraft lore, let me just talk about the game. As an SCV now moving into the base, takes a look. We'll see the spawning pool. We should be seeing an extractor come up momentarily from behind, and then SCV was able to grab some minerals. That's how SCVs roll, stealing minerals that are not their own. Meanwhile, a drone now just being forced to pull back there. A marine was trained up, as we are now going into one marine, and I believe there could have been a supply depot there. We do see a gas now being placed down, so a factory could be coming in to try to finish off this wall. And yeah, a factory there, and we could be getting a reactor once more. We are getting a bunker down here, and what this will do is it will at least force these drones to try to stop the bunker. Oh, the bunker was not canceled. So Happy losing out 100 minerals there, and that is not good at all. Happy not playing very on tip top of his game there, as you can see that the bunker is currently now just being added on. You can also see some Zerglings being trained. Zerglings only take 24 seconds to build, so this is going to be very difficult for this Marine to hold off the number of units there. That Marine down to 10 hit points, almost able to get off another shot there, and this poor Marine attempting to run away will not be able to do so, as this bunker once again will get canceled, most likely. Happy just hoping to buy time, prevent those Zerglings from dealing any true damage, or by coming into here, as now Happy goes into that reactor play that I mentioned earlier. Production tab, we are getting more and more SCVs, sitting at 23 over 27 food, 4 of that food in Hellions. So Hellions are going to be able to take a bit of map control in just a moment, as we are now getting some spine crawlers and queens to join in on the fight. A Zergling activating the Zelnaga Watchtower here. Most likely another one will be activated there in just a moment, as a low hit point Marine hanging out by the third base, trying to make sure that a third base was not established. Hellions are now on the move. They look to try to clean up and get some more of that critical scouting information. There is also an Overlord here. The Overlord will be able to run away very easily, as the Hellions look to put in a bit of pressure. It doesn't look like it will be successful at all, as we are going to be getting a Roach Warren there and a Spine Crawler here, making a very narrow walkway for those Hellions to try to squeeze through. We are going to have 4 Hellions, soon to be 6 Hellions, and putting in a bit of pressure. 4 Hellions definitely deal a lot of damage towards the current army combination of Nerchio, who only has Queens, Zerglings, and Roaches, and drones. Roaches will be coming in just a few seconds, as Happy may be trying to... No, he is not going for that double Banshee play that we saw in the last game. We should be seeing a command center be placed down a bit earlier, as he does not want to invest too heavily into that Banshee play that we saw on Metalopolis. I'm just waiting for a command center to be added into the army. Yeah, you can see Happy already getting this one SCV in position. But by waiting for these Hellions to regroup, that is going to be a bit of an issue, as roaches are now being trained, and now 27 seconds until those roaches are into the battlefield, and a lot of Hellions here. So Happy is not going to get any true mileage out of these roaches. He is not going to be able to equalize the economic advantage, but he is at least forcing Nerchio to not train drones and train roaches. As I say that, you can see a lot of drones now being added up, and in comes an army of Hellions. The Hellions just torching in so many of those drones, and wow, taking this time to really invest heavily into drones, or into Hellions, as the Hellions getting a lot of damage, and now taking down a lot of those units. The Queen now trying to make their way over, and the Queen is going to join in on that slashing, but more workers are getting killed. Up to 6 worker kills so far, and now even more workers getting killed. But it didn't deal as much damage as I would have liked to have seen. If you take a look at the army combination, 100 versus 375, 125. Happy really far behind now, 25 SCVs versus 37 drones. And yeah, the damage just wasn't really there. Now going into Siege Tank with Siege Tech. Here you can see the Siege Tech now being added, and more barracks being added as well, in addition to a starport, most likely for a reactor, or will get a reactor on there, and also try to get some medevac play. But Happy is very, very far behind. Happy has a bit of ground to make up, as Nerchio now can easily power drone for a minute or two more, and then just try to carry his economic lead. The roaches are attempting to take down these rocks, already down to 500 hit points. Hatchery will be coming in about 100 seconds as soon as a drone makes its way over. And I think Nerchio has such a strong advantage right now. As long as he doesn't make any critical mistakes, he should be able to carry this advantage into the mid-game with a stronger economy and also a stronger army. But you can take a look at what Happy is doing. Happy is just macroing up like a madman, getting more SCVs, trying to mule in as much as possible, and his army is now surpassing his opponent. Marine's going to clean up this one Overlord here. Down it goes. And we are getting one medevac, no reactor, as there's not enough gas to play reactor at all. As now Nerchio sitting on a decent amount of larva. Oh, he was sitting on a decent amount of larva, but now continuing to power drone. This is one of those instances where your game sense has to be perfect as a Zerg player. If you power drone too long, and the Terran player counterattacks you with a very large army right now, you can see the army 1,200, and larger in gas and larger in terms of minerals as well. Those siege tanks will be able to rip through those roaches and those Zerglings, and the Zerglings do not have the level 1 carapace upgrades just quite yet, going for the claw upgrades instead. Drones are now being transferred over, so Nerchio has a very, very small window where he is vulnerable. The problem is that the longer this game goes, the better it will be for Nerchio, as Nerchio also has every watchtower in play, so any movement out will be quickly revealed, unless it is a sneaky drop play like this. One Marauder, a couple Marines now pushing down over here. It looks like it will be able to perhaps snipe down a Queen, and perhaps even some drones as well, as there you go, going after drones and getting in some damage there, and now going after one drone at a time. The medevac taking a bit of damage, and now being able to pull back there. Workers killed, only 14, but that is still going to help even up and at least put Nerchio in a bit of a more defensive posture, as that Queen now gets back on creep, and perhaps more creep will be spread out. Zerglings once again moving out to make sure that there is something happening over here. Happy does have a decent sized army. His economy is just much more weak there, as a couple of Zerglings just lambs to the slaughter, as the Marines once again pushing back in order to get some damage there. One poor Marine didn't make the medevac in time, and now Zerglings are over here as well. The Zerglings gonna just get cleaned up, as the roaches may try to push back in once more, picking up all of those units, and now Happy pulling away once again. You are going to see the siege tanks now moving out, and Happy, even though he has the smaller food count, may make something work of this. There is one medevac in the air, another medevac. No more medevacs being trained, as Happy now going into 3 racks or 3 factory play, getting another command center. The bunkers are now slowly being moved out as well in order to find a better positioning, making sure that the Zerglings, if they try to run up, will get destroyed. Zerglings over here don't spot a command center yet, but that is because will be lifted off in just a moment, and now in comes the army in order to take down these rocks. The Marauders are on the far side. The Marauders attempting to fight back against all of the Zerglings. The Zerglings, well, the Marauders finally getting concussive shell as the Marines will be able to finish off those destructible rocks rather quickly. The front door is still pretty well defended. A lot of siege tanks, 6 siege tanks there protecting, but Nerchio also has infestors, and it will really come down to whether those infestors deal enough damage or if they're just going to actually walk in a little bit too far and take too many shells from the Crucio shock cannon. Level 3 now being upgraded, as well as we are now getting already a 4th bay up by Nerchio. And now going into very heavy gas play, running off of 8 extractors. Creep tumors, Nerchio with a very, very strong creep spread as well. And Happy looking to be in a bit of trouble as SCVs now being transferred off to the, 1 o'clock expansion location with the destructible rocks. We have Marines and Marauders over here. The Marines and the Marauders do not have any weapons upgrade, and we are now going into a Greater Spire and Corruptors. So that is going to be a large amount of damage to be had. Those Broodlords spawning those Broodlings, those siege tanks will accidentally splash against their own buildings, and it is all going to come down into timing. A hatchery is being built over here, so Nerchio, not satisfied by running off of 4 bases, going to be running off of 5 in just a moment, as he is sitting on 81 drones. As siege tanks on the move will roll out and clean up here. The siege tanks, need to siege up, but that's going to be a problem. There's that fungal growth. Siege tanks are very, very deep there, but the roaches getting in, or absorbing a bit of that damage. Taking a look at the losses, really Nerchio taking a bit of damage there, and now taking even more damage as one Marine with a range of 5, getting in some free shots onto a roach. Siege tanks in the back are once again going to push up rather slowly. Production, we are going into level 1 weapons upgrade, and 3 more siege tanks being added at the same time. Siege tanks able to destroy even more of those very expensive roaches as the siege tanks now pushing up once more. Zerglings are coming into swarm, but we are now going into the 9 Broodlords. No Vikings at all. And that is going to be a problem. No Vikings, no reactor on the starport, will not be able to respond all too well. Not even any, not even any Thors to try to deal some damage onto those Broodlords if they are pushing in. But now we have also a nice drop on the backside. Happy getting in damage over here, but the Queen was not taken down. And this is a very, very slow push that Happy is executing right now. And now in comes a murder of Broodlords there. The Marines now going to try to fight back. The Broodlings simply coming in. So much damage to be had. The siege tanks, the Marines, the Marauders fighting back, finishing off the rest of those units. But 9 Broodlords in the air, completely uncountered, as now going into double starports, adding a reactor to try to finish these Broodlords off. But the Broodlords move far, far, far too quickly. Even though they are rather slow, they will be able to start just attacking into the orbital command here, and that is going to be bad news. You can see that the siege tanks going to start shelling away, and now the Broodlings just swarming into the base. Broodlord just launching them straight into the battlefield. The siege tanks dealing so much damage to their own, as the Marines are now pushing in and maybe able to get off perhaps 1 or 2 kills on those Broodlords. But those Broodlords have decent armor with 1, and those Marines were not be upgraded beyond 101. Thor now pushing out, but the orbital command will get taken down. And that window of opportunity that Happy had in order to make some aggressive move just simply closed tight, and now there's the GG by Happy. So Happy losing game 2 in this series against Nerchio. Stay tuned for game 3. Really, really impressive play by Nerchio. Nerchio just always felt one step ahead of his opponent, getting those infestors off, and then as soon as the infestors had got off a fungal growth on those Marines, Marauders, and siege tanks, was already transitioning into something else, and Happy really never recovered in the long term. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, stay tuned for game 3.